Hosta La Vista is brought to you by Green Hill Hostas. Welcome to Hosta La Vista, the podcast where the shade is cool, the leaves are lush, and the friendship's perennial. We are your hosts. I'm Betsy Peterson.
And I'm Mandy Olson, two hobbyist sisters who love this plant as much as you do.
Join us each week as we dig into all things hosta, the plant affectionately known as the friendship plant.
Welcome back to Hosta La Vista and the amazing people who make this community so special.
Today, we welcome you to a special midweek episode with one of the organizers of the 2026 American Hosta Society's Ohio Convention coming up next month.
That's right, and a true icon in the hosta world with us today. Dentist, hybridizer, storyteller, and a true people person, the one and only Doug Beilstein.
Doug, we are so excited to have you. We've heard so much about you, and it is a real delight to finally meet you.
Well, gosh, Mandy, Betsy, it's great to be here. I just hope my responses live up to your expectations here.
It'll be great. Doug, you're a busy guy right now. We are glad you could squeeze in a conversation with us. You're currently knee-deep in convention planning, aren't you?
Absolutely. You've heard the story about the one-armed paper hanger. Yeah, that's me and the rest of our committee. We've bitten off a very large assignment, if you will, and it's like trying to plan a 4-day party for 200 or 300 people, and meals, lodging, transportation, where they're going to visit. I mean, and there's a lot of little facets that you'd never think about. Oh, that's not bad. We'll just get a bus and go there, right? That works until the bus company said they never heard of you.
Oh.
And so you have to scurry, and they have no more buses.
Oh.
So, and even though you have your contract right in front of their face, and
Oh.
hey, I don't know who did that, but we don't have the buses. So we scurried around and found some more buses. So no trouble
For
with
real?
that. But
That really happened?
yeah, that's a true story in our experience here. And
Wow.
one of our co-chairs, Sheila Sands, had to hustle around, and she did a great job. And my gosh, we got buses.
Oh, good job,
And
Sheila.
and a little nice little bonus on that. They're a little less expensive than the first set.
Oh, well,
hey.
there you go.
I don't know how that works.
Higher
Great.
stress, but lower cost.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And then working with the gardens, we visited as a group, an executive group, more than 20 some gardens, and then trying to narrow those down to what we were looking for, and trying to be diplomatic on the ones that didn't make it. And gosh, there's a lot of energy, but a lot of consideration and some heartbreak that goes into this, but because we couldn't put them all on, and we're trying to find ones that are located within a certain area so that a bus can make a route, and you're not on the bus all day versus you're in the gardens more. So yeah, there's a lot of logistics to try to figure. Yeah.
How many did you narrow it down to?
We have 14 places that we're going to visit. One of them is a nursery. One of them is, well, two of them are hybridizer gardens, one of which is mine. The other one is Clarence Hanna's. And people are going to be blown away at Clarence's. I spent this morning and half of this afternoon up there helping him and digging some of my plants to get out of the way for him and things like that. But he's got 6 greenhouses that are full of plants that have been growing anywhere from 2 to 10 years.
Wow.
And so I want you to, when we were walking down the aisles, you couldn't see the ground that you were walking on. The leaves were that big and things like that. He's got some unbelievable plants. So I think people, and we can only spend an hour there.
Oh, no.
So people, yeah.
This is Kirkside, right? Kirkside?
Pardon me?
Kirkside?
Kirkside, yeah, Kirkside
Okay.
Hostas is
Mm.
his moniker there. And
Wow.
my gosh, it's going to take us an hour to get there,
Mm.
but it's going to be the nicest bus ride you ever had. But
Uh,
we've got 5 gardens we're going to see on a Thursday on our way to a barbecue.
Oh,
And
great.
the two gardens at the end are at the site of the barbecue. And
Okay.
one of them, one of our premier cut leaf people,
Uh-huh.
Dick and Jeannie Barbie, and they've taken several best of shows at our national conventions. It's at his garden. That's where the barbecue will be.
Oh,
So,
perfect.
and his daughter right next door has a hosta garden. So you get 2 gardens and a barbecue at one last stop.
Wow.
oh,
That sounds amazing. I would
And
love to
and
see the garden.
everybody in the convention gets bused to this one because there's no
oh,
way
okay.
we can have enough car space and
No.
everything. So there's another one of those bus things, but we got to
Yeah.
figure it out. 2 other days of convention that we're going to have bus tours. We're going to have 5, I believe, on, let's see, that would be on a Friday.
Hmm.
That's more toward the inner part of Columbus. And then on the periphery on Saturday is when we're going to go to the nursery. We're going to go to Clarence's and mine and one other one. So, and these all take off about 8 o'clock in the morning and we'll be back 2:30, three
Okay.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
You can only rent a bus for 8 hours
Oh,
for a
Okay.
set fee.
mm,
Okay.
And so that's what we had to schedule it into.
gotcha. Wow.
So first of all, if people still want to register, they're going to be like last minute sliding into home plate. But how could they register? What's the website?
Well, I would go to the AHS website, which is
Okay.
hosta.org or American Hospice Society.
Okay.
And if you go and there's a little tab there that says convention,
Okay.
and then they can follow that through.
Okay.
And our reservations are going to end here pretty quick. We're
Pretty
talking
quick.
about the 15th or 16th of
Okay.
May.
Sure.
Yeah, listeners, if you're on the fence about going, there's still time. I think we would like to have all the registrations in by, I think you said May 20th on the website, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
and we'd like to pull that back since the rooms are out, just
Oh,
Mm,
since we're
okay.
saying the 15th. But we'll work with those people.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we've
So go
had
ahead and
one guy
register.
call in. We've had one guy already call in and said, "I want to come," and things like that. But the hotel's gone, and we
Oh,
said,
okay.
"We know." We told him whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see
mhm,
if he comes.
Sure.
mm,
Okay.
okay.
Well, listeners, we just wanted to let you know that it's not too late to still attend the convention, and sounds like an amazing time. I'd love to see those gardens you were just talking about. That sounds great.
Mhm.
That Clarence will. I told him he should rope off one of his hoop houses and charge admission to anybody that's
Mhm.
attending. and
Wow.
they're going to see some really unbelievable plants in there.
Wow.
Oh,
How about
wow.
vendors?
Uh, we've got some very interesting vendors there. One of the newer ones is a guy that is into dwarf conifers and doing some bonsai work with those.
Wow.
And so he will have those available. We're going to have our classic people. Mason Hollow is even going to make the trip from the east
Ooh,
to
Wow.
come
wow.
out, and Josh and his brother Jacob are going to come from the west. Uh, from the south, we've got Bob Solberg. So we've got our directions sort of all coming this way. We're going to have, I believe, 6 vendors, 6 or 7 vendors, plus our bonsai guy. Should be sort of an interesting. I'm sure people are going to find everything that they need to take home.
Oh,
Good.
that's wonderful. I've seen some beautiful hosta gardens with those dwarf conifers as sort of an anchor point, and oh my goodness, they are just spectacular. That's a great vendor to add this year.
And I'll put in a plug, and you can cut this out if you want. Uh, that this convention, I've got a surplus of plants, so I'm selling a lot of cultivars that I've used in breeding that I don't use
Mm,
anymore.
Mm.
I've got 30, 40, or 50 street plants that I'm not using anymore that are going to go. And I've got a lot of my red leg plants that are a year or, well, a generation or 2 behind where I'm at now. And there would be good pickups for people.
Mhm.
And I'm going to have my grandkids out there, and they're going to be
Mhm.
showing people around and hawking plants and all that kind of stuff. So it's that family thing again.
Yeah, it
We
is.
love to do that.
Oh, it's
I sure
great.
wish we could go, man.
I do
We
too.
Oh,
have a, yeah, we have
well,
a
hey,
fifth.
there's one thing you won't see my place on there. You will see Clarence's. The AHS has hired a photographer, a video photographer, Brandon Schick, I believe his name is. I know it's Brendan, and it's Schick, I think. And he is lining up personalities to do interviews with. So these are well, we have these in our library because all
Mhm.
these people aren't going to be around forever and ever.
Right.
And then he's photographing some of the gardens. He's
Mm,
asked us to pick out four.
mm,
Clarence's will be one.
Good.
mm.
Beth Velde would be a second one. The other two we haven't chosen yet. Mine won't be there. It's not a garden that you want to photograph. But anyways, um, vicariously, you can be there if you go visit those videos afterwards.
Oh,
Now,
that's true. Yeah.
he was also instrumental in Don Rawson's uh, virtual convention
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
because he went around to the various places. He had a drone. Is that a
Mm-hmm.
drone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they were able to photograph it from above and down below and things like that. And then several of us walked through those gardens and interviewed the owners and
Yeah.
things like that. So it's similar to that,
I love
the
that.
virtual convention. So it'll be very worthwhile
That's
to
great.
zoom in on that when it gets done. He goes home, edits it,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, there it is.
I love that.
We have very off topic, so I
Oh,
No, this is
apologize.
okay.
great. This is
Yeah.
wonderful. I'm glad we're going organically
Yeah.
where we are going to go. I'm personally, I just want to say thank you for providing that videography for that because it's just, the AHS convention, it's great, but it's not something that a lot of people can go to. But being able to watch those videos later and then watch them over and over and get design ideas and learn about the types of plants you want, that's invaluable. So thank you for making that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's well, the AHS has done this. They're funding it. Our local committee has volunteered some support for that
Yeah.
and things like that, the housing and for Brendan. And so yeah, we're excited about having him here and things. He's going to photograph, I do believe, a couple of the major speeches that we're going to have, of which I can give you a little thing there.
Yeah.
There's a place called Groovy Plants Ranch, and this is Jared and Liz Hughes, and they have started from Zippo and have just exploded out there. And their place is a destination place now for everybody in Columbus and even other states that come into it. Very creatively staged. They have an airplane that took a nosedive and they've got plants coming out of it and stuff like that. An
Oh,
old
wow.
Wow.
car that you open the hood and there's plants in there and all that.
Mhm.
So a lot of decorations and things.
Cool.
And Liz, the wife, one of the owners, will be our featured speaker at our Sunday or
Oh,
Saturday banquet. Our other two featured speakers will be Don Rawson is going to talk, and he is always entertaining.
yeah.
Mhm.
The other one we're going to mix it up. We're going to have a panel,
Mm.
okay? And this panel, we're going to pull in the AHS president, and we're going to find out what's going on with the AHS and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, just like a little newscast. One of our premier hosta growers, Dave Chopko,
Mm-hmm.
is going to be there, and he has a garden with 1,200 cultivars, and
Wow.
then he has a supplemental garden. The New Jersey has a state garden, and so it's about an hour and a half away from him, and so he's transported another 300-400 of his
Hmm.
ones that he doesn't have up there just
Hmm.
to just an ancillary site. So that he's going to be on there, and then we're going to have Rob Morco. He's going to clue us in a little bit on the TC process and
Yeah.
what's due, what's coming up.
Mm.
The
Cool.
people have sent to him, and he's got in tissue culture. And then there's Bob, who is the Hosta guru for our whole group, and he is going to end up explaining his transition in life because he's not a young guy either,
Mm-hmm.
and how his business is sort of morphed into from a multi uh, uh, perspective
Mm-hmm.
to he's concentrating on lesser things and more of them, more toward a liner kind of operation,
Mm-hmm.
which means he gets to go out and survey the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
choose his plants, get them into TC, and then he's going to sell the liners to the wholesalers and to retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's and before he was doing it all. He had the
Mm-hmm.
Gazette, newspaper he wrote, and also he's just pulling back a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying himself even more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so
Good.
those four guys are going to be on the dais up there, and I will be the MC. So I'm going to pull some
Awesome.
interesting stuff out.
Oh yeah, you are.
Good.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I hope people really enjoy the convention this year. I wish we could both go, but it's just not in the cards this year. Doug, we invited you on to kind of learn about you and your hybridizing work, and we always like to ask our guests what we call their hostery, which is your hosta history. How did you get started?
This goes back last century. Basically, when I was a junior and senior in high school, I worked at a local horticultural center called Kingwood Center. And I was just a rookie there, and I was raking the gardens and weeding and doing all sorts of things. But I developed a pretty strong interest in plants.
Hmm.
So that, and not only that, the director of Kingwood was a guy by the name of Raymond C. Allen, and he's one of the seven original members of the American Hospice Society, one of the
Oh,
founders.
wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know that at that time or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, he was there with Summers and the rest of the crew, Minks and things like that. So, anyways, yeah, that was sort of interesting. And then the other part, Van Wade was only 15, 18 miles away from our home. And my brother and I had started the blueberry farm, and blueberries only happen at a certain part of the time, from late June to August.
Hmm.
So what are you going to do with the rest of that time and on that farm? So we decided to go with a greenhouse,
Mm.
and we were going to sell first of all some annuals, and then we branched out into perennials. And what's a perennial but a hosta? And who has hostas but Van Wade? So
Yeah.
we would go down there, and he was just the nicest person trying to explain things. And so we got some of the things we could have multiple eyes in there, and we could go home and divide them and sell them, right? So that was cool. He showed us how to do all that, and they were common ones, the old candy hearts. I don't know if you ever
Yep.
heard of that.
Yep.
August Moon was in there, and of course the elbow marginata.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And so we got some of those. And my brother was looking around those huts, and he came back holding this one pot. And what was that? And he says, I want this one. And you got to understand, my brother is an architect and works in construction management also. And he has an eye for beauty or whatever, and the grace. And it was Northern Halo.
Mm.
And it was $25 a pot
Oh,
with a single eye in there. And I said, you're nuts. Why? How can we can't even divide that to sell it? He said, I just like it. I'm going to get it. Okay. I was more into the candy hearts. It had 10 pieces in there that I could go home, separate, and make some money off of, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
But anyway, so that was our start. And
Mm.
it's very interesting. Shortly thereafter, my brother, after I took an interest in hostas, he lost his interest. So I
Oh,
inherited the Northern Halo.
oh no. Oh,
Yeah, so that was my start, and that was way back. That was back
wow.
in the early '80s
Okay.
or whatever.
Wow.
So, and then it just ballooned out of there, and we went over, my brother and I, to Betty Comfrey's garden where she was deciding to get out of the hosta business. And I had talked to her and I had befriended her at a convention and things like that. And she says, yeah, come over. Her garden was called Silver Mist at that time. And she said, yeah, I'm going to get out of this. I need to get rid of these things. And I'm willing to sell you clumps, whatever clumps you want.
Wow.
And we had a half-ton pickup truck, and we would grab a clump and dig it. We had to dig it, and then write the name in my magic marker on the leaves, and then put it in the truck. And then we go dig another clump, write the same thing. And we had more hostas in that truck that it fit a dome over the roof all the way back, and then we put a net on it to take it back to Mansfield. And Betty was just such a sweet person. I mean, we were dirty, head to foot, right? Come on in, get in my shower, clean up.
Oh,
We had a different set of clothes and things like that. We were just going to drop off the dirty ones and put the clean ones on to go home
yeah.
and things like that. I mean, that's the kind of woman she was.
Mm.
And what a beautiful person. So that gave us a real big start because now we had 300 or 400 cultivars.
Wow.
And we got home, we put them all out on a wagon, and then over the next couple of 3 weeks, I would go in and divide them, put them in pots, space them out. We built a pergola, and put them all underneath there for our sales. Yeah, so we had
Wow.
we've been really very fortunate, very kind, and very benefited from a lot of
A
friendships.
lot of people.
Yeah.
I do want to hear about your blueberries. Doug, we've been talking hostas this whole time, but I think we are missing a huge part of your story if we didn't ask you about your blueberries. How did that start?
Oh, that's sort of unusual start. My brother and his wife had a farm, and they ended up getting a divorce, and he wanted to keep the farm. So, family, we decided to go in and buy the farm, and then, well, what did you want to do with the farm? Well, we want to do a you pick orchard. Oh, that sounds interesting. So, what do you want to you pick? Well, we want to do apples and we want to do peaches. And so we're doing some research and things like that. And the farm, we did some soil tests and everything was working fine. And we talked to some professors down at OSU and they said, hey, we think this is good. And then that winter, it went down to something like minus 20 below.
Mm.
And the peach industry, every peach tree in the state of Ohio died.
Mm.
Oh.
And I told my brother Steve, I said, hey, this is an omen. We're not doing peach trees.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the more lucrative parts. Apples are, but peaches bring in the cream of the crop. And so then we decided, well, maybe not apples either. So what else could be? And we came up with blueberries. And so we go to Michigan, we get a little education, we find a nice farm up there, the Grand Champs, and we bring home some potted plants, and we plant, I think, about 1,000 of them.
Mm.
And next spring, there's about 30 of them alive.
Oh no.
Disaster again.
Wow.
And by that time, we both decided that we ought to learn a little bit more than just put out our wallet there and try to figure it out afterwards. So we enrolled in some courses, got some stuff, and then the rest is history. Because when we departed from the farm, my brother took it over fully. Um, we had 17 acres of you pick, and we
Oh
had
wow.
about 7 different varieties, so we could go from right around the 4th of July right through the end of August or whatever, because that's when people were going back to school and we didn't have
Yeah.
pickers, we didn't have anything. And it really jumped out there because we ended up getting a machine that could pick our plants called Little Blue. And then we had to build a barn and where we could, once we bring the harvest in there, you have to process it, right? So there's all sorts of equipment that you drop them into water and the bad ones float and whatever, and then they go up a band and then you pick out other bad ones. And then in the end, they drop into a bag and we were freezing 30-pound bags of blueberries. So we had to have a freezer. So we built a freezer,
Mm.
and then we could put all these 30-pound bags in. Then we have to have a place to sell them, right? So we found an Amish pie baker that was about 40 miles away from us. And oh, he loved it because now he could get his source in the winter when he wasn't really super busy. And he could make his jams, he could make his pies and things like that. So we thought, oh, that's good. So we put our label on his jam,
Mm-hmm.
our berries. So that works. So we now, whatever. So that morphed out there. And then we decided, hey, we've got more time and we prune these blueberry bushes and we're throwing away good, what they call whips, the single stem that grows up anywhere between 3-4 feet tall from the base of your plant. And you don't want too many of those in any one given year. So you prune off a bunch of them. But that's where your blueberry cuttings come from.
Hmm.
So we would gather those up in the fall or in the fall. And then we would wrap them up into white copollies and we'd throw them into a cooler that would be about 34 degrees. And then coming out in March, we'd hire a couple of high school kids and they'd come in and start cutting those things in 6-inch sticks.
Hmm.
And then we had to build another greenhouse. And then we put those in peat moss, 64 to a little square. And we'd water those over the course of the summer and they develop roots. It's just like sticking coleus or whatever else and things like that. And then in the fall, we'd hire 6 or 8 high school kids and we'd break all of these things apart and then they'd put them in 4-inch square cells. So we'd have 18 to a tray. And then we built some more greenhouses, cold frames, and put those out there. So at one time we were processing over 100,000 blueberry cuttings or bushes,
Oh, wow.
sold them to some Dutch guy who comes in with so we had to learn how to package them and things, boxes, buy boxes.
Mhm.
Guys came in with a semi. We loaded those up with a forklift, and they go to New Jersey. They put them into whatever they're packaging to sell them. And then I go into my Lowe's in Mansfield, Ohio, and there's our blueberry bushes on their shelves.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So
Wow.
we were very blessed with that. And it's just because we had idle time and then we saw a resource that we weren't using and tried to capitalize on that. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's
I've tried to, and in the meantime, I'm still working as a dentist full time.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Jeez.
So I would get to the office at 6 or 6:30 and I would start seeing patients at 7 so that I could be out of there by 3:30 or 4 o'clock because I didn't eat lunch. So I'd work through lunch and the staff had to figure out how they could get lunch or whatever. And then I'd have my change of clothes and I'd jump right into the car and I'd go out to the farm until dark.
oh
And
my
Wow.
gosh.
the
Holy
one
cow.
thing that I do regret is that I lost a lot of family time there.
Sure.
And Marty worked with our 2 daughters much more than I did, and at that particular time, and that was until they were old enough, and then they got employed at the farm.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah, they
10-year-old
did.
daughter at that time, Megan, was driving our tractor for us
Uh-huh.
and things like that. So that worked out,
Mm.
and gainful employment for them
Yep.
and things. So yeah, that was beautiful. My my young daughter that was driving that tractor, 10, Megan, is now general manager of a wholesale nursery down here in Columbus. So
Oh,
she went to
wow.
OU, got a botany degree and a BS, and then I said, "Well, you got to go get your PhD." She said, "No, I'm going out and earn some money."
Yeah.
So she started potting plants at this one place and just worked her way up.
Wow, that's
So
wonderful.
and
Is
and then full circle on
It
this.
is. Yeah.
We left Mansfield
Mhm.
and I didn't have any place to put any of my stuff.
Yeah.
And her location is 20 minutes from here, Bill Creek. And I'd known that guy because I'd gone in and checked his hostas for before she even started working there.
Huh.
And he says, hey, I've got a little greenhouse down here. You can use that. And I've got a little spot of land up here, 40, 45 foot kind of square up here, and you can use that. So that's where I'm at now.
Wow.
So
He just gave you a hoop house?
yeah, the full circle of how it worked is
Yeah.
just
Oh
unbelievable.
my
I
God.
Wow.
can I can't tell you how blessed I am.
Mm.
I just happened to it just happens, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I don't believe in it. It just happens.
It's
Yeah.
all connection. I mean, that's what this is. You invested in Megan.
Yeah.
Megan, took that to fruition and now, you're
Hey,
being blessed by this connection that you built all those
and
years
I
ago.
get to see her every morning because I go into her office and sit on her desk and I said, "Well, what's going on today, boss?"
Oh,
I love it.
So that's so cool, so
Oh,
cool.
that
that
is
is
very
cool.
cool. Oh,
Wow.
good.
Yeah, that's one thing. I was bringing up so daggone many memories here for us. My dad was an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and one of the things that he said, I don't care what you do, boy, but what I want you to do is I want you to be your own boss.
Mm.
Okay, anything you want to do. And so it just turns out dentistry is where I ended up and
Mhm.
things like that. And I was just waiting for the day because he used to go down about a block. He walked down to a delicatessen for lunch. And I was just waiting for the day that, and he took me there many times. And the clerk behind there knew him all the time. So, well, Doc, what do you want today? And he would tell him. And so I was just waiting for the day that after I got my degree, could walk down there with him and sit at that stool right beside him at the counter, and then I'm just waiting for the clerk to say, "Doctor, what do you want? Doctor, what do you want?" Because that that would have been a fulfillment of my dream for my dad, showing him I did
Mhm.
what you wanted me to do, but also what I wanted to do.
That's
And,
right.
and my dad died 6 months before I got my degree. So that
Oh.
that never happened, but it was
Mm.
it was always a dream, and I envisioned that,
Mhm.
and so
Oh.
yeah, that
Mm,
was
I'm
sort of
sorry.
sad on that, but it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anyway, so that, but I
Wow.
did go down there and eat lunch several
Yeah.
times.
That's good.
And I did end up occupying my dad's office, so
Oh, good
Oh,
for you.
wow.
that's pretty interesting.
Wow. That is.
Wow.
We have really gotten way off of hostage, so I
Yeah.
apologize.
That's
You can
okay.
edit all that stuff.
No, that's great. It's
I
fine.
love it. And this is the kind of stuff that people like hearing about. You're a great storyteller, and this is, I think I knew that
That's
we
what
were
my
going to get
wife
some good
says. She
stories.
says I tell too many stories. Yeah.
Well,
And she says
listeners can always,
I'm a great embellisher. I
well,
said, no, I just got to have a good memory.
good memory.
That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
I think listeners love these kinds of stories. This is great. Well, let's jump into our very first game segment. It's time for Is It a Hosta or Not? Only we have a very special edition of our game that we are calling
Is it a hosta or a blueberry? In this game, we will give
Oh,
you two choices of real plants, and you have to decide between the two. Is it a hosta name or a blueberry name? Answer 5 correctly, and you'll win a Hosta La Vista vinyl water bottle sticker for yourself and a lucky listener.
we'll make
Mandy.
this easy then.
Oh,
I'm an old guy.
Mandy, who is Doug playing for today?
Doug is playing for Elise Miller of Holmesville, Ohio.
All
I'm
right.
not aware of her, but
Yeah.
hey, we'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
I, okay.
All right. Number 1,
Oh,
blueberries and cream.
blueberries and cream?
Yep.
That's a
Is it a
hosta.
hosta or a
That's a
blueberry plant?
hosta.
Okay.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
no,
Correct.
yeah, hosta.
Okay. Number 2, limontini.
Oh, that's a Marxillus plant. That's a hosta.
Also correct. Very good.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 3, pink lemonade.
I I got to tell you that there's a little story. That that's a blueberry.
Correct.
but no self-respecting blueberry grower would grow that because it's a pink berry.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's crazy. But anyways, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
that's
No,
okay.
that's
Number
Yeah.
4 is blue crop.
Oh, that was one of our best sellers.
Oh,
It's just a beautiful berry and very
great.
delicious, very sweet. So yeah,
Great.
that's a blueberry.
okay.
Great.
You're doing
Correct.
great. 4 for
All
4.
right. Number 5 is sunshine blue.
That sounds like a hosta to me.
Oh.
It is a blueberry.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Must be a newer cultivar because I don't recall that one. Ooh.
That or Betsy got it wrong. Who knows?
No, I actually did my research this time.
The blueberry grower got it wrong.
Yeah. All right. Number 6 is bluebird of happiness.
Oh, I think that's a hosta.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, yeah.
that's correct. All right. And last one is bluer than blue.
Oh boy. That sounds like a oh, I've not heard that as a blueberry, so I'll have to go with a hosta.
It is. It's a hosta. I was going to look it up real quick because it is a fairly new one, I think.
Looks like you got 6 out of 7. So good job.
Awesome. That is, yep, bluer than
Oh,
blue. It's a Randy Goodwin plant from
oh wow.
2013.
Over in Indianapolis. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where the next year's convention is going to be,
Yes, that's
you
right.
Oh,
know. And
all
I have
right.
no idea whether his garden's going to be on tour, but the 3 previous conventions in Indianapolis, he's been on tour at 3 different houses. And he has
Hey.
moved and he's carted his creations and he's very, very gifted as a designer, an
Oh,
architectural designer out there for floral gardens and stuff like that. Very beautiful.
wow. That's
So I
great.
hope he is going to be on the tour, but he's an old fossil too.
Oh,
That's okay. He and I kid each other all the time. He calls me worse.
oh.
Sure.
Van Wade passed away in 2017, the same year you received the Eunice Fisher Award. What did he mean to you personally?
Well, I didn't know how to hybridize and things like that. So I went down there and I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, it's not really bad, but you got to realize Van never hybridized. He just collected seed pods and would plant them, or even more specifically, they didn't collect the seed pods in the fall, and wherever the seeds fell, and mainly they were cibolianas, a new plant would grow, and then boom, all of his Indian series
Oh,
came from seedlings from plants that were right beside it that looked a little different and things. So,
I didn't
anyways,
know
but
that.
he did show me how to hybridize and things like that. So I got into that, and my first group, I must have grown about 15 different kinds of seeds, and I think I got 5 or 6 seedlings to grow. That was
Mhm.
all, and I was just totally devastated. And so there was another person at that time that had seeds for sale, a one Mr. Peter Rue,
Oh,
and up in Chesterville, Ohio.
uh-huh.
So I went up there and visited him. And for those of the people that knew, he was an eccentric. He just was not off. He was just his way, and he just had certain mannerisms with him. And so he sold seeds in the fall. So I bought some, and these germinated. And not only that, I was getting some nice stuff out of there.
Hmm.
And so I established a long time relationship with him. We had already had the blueberry farm going. And so I said, I could use some blueberry bushes. That was Pete talking to me. I said, "Oh, yeah? How many?" "I think I need about 10. So my next trip up, I took 10 blueberry bushes. And he had goats running around all in his gardens and things like that. I don't know why they didn't eat his plants. And he had chickens going around. He'd use cardboard for mulch. I mean, and then he loved to recycle or produce mulch, from all of his cuttings and things. So he would always send you notes on how to do things when you bought his seeds and things like that. He was one character. His wife Jean was just a beautiful person too, and he'd take you down in the basement and show you his seeds, and they were in a refrigerator. Okay, but right beside the refrigerator was a whole shelf full of nothing other than artifacts of American Indians. There were
Oh,
arrowheads and just everything. I mean, the man was into a massive collection of everything. I don't think he got rid of anything ever in his life and
oh my
things. So, yeah, he was another one of those characters that we have in the hostedom. But really new. One of the things that he did for us is that he took a lot of unregistered hostas and he registered them
Mm.
Mhm.
for us. So that's how we got a lot of our plants registered.
Well,
What do you
good.
mean? Like, how did he get them? Were they just growing in his yard?
Oh, no. Pete, oh, in his basement, there were boxes, like shoe boxes and things like that. And he would have a correspondence with all of the old time people, the
Oh.
Summers and the Hawes and everybody, and including some Japanese people. Okay. And what he would do is he would hand copy his letter that he wrote to them, put it in that shoebox for them or whatever. And then when they replied, he put their answer in there, obviously, much before copiers and things like that. So he has a huge library of correspondence from all these people. He traced back Eric Smith's
Oh.
hostas and wherever the original ones were. And he had almost every Eric Smith original OS material
Mhm.
Yeah.
that he ever had, and that's the Tardiana series, you
Yeah.
know, which uh, which came out of the elegans plant and all of that story. Yeah, he was something else, and it's my understanding that Mark Zillis had a relationship with him that he was going to get that stuff, but I think the son or the daughter still has it, so we don't have those things yet
Mhm.
for our archives, and
Sure.
hopefully we're
Mhm.
going to get it.
Yeah, that'd be something to for sure
Oh, yeah,
find out
the
about.
history in there and things like
Oh
that,
yeah.
and the origins of plants. He traced the lineage back and all that. So yeah, he was a heck of a historian for
Mm.
Mm.
us.
That's great.
Wow. Well, going back to your 2017 win on the Eunice Fisher Award, you named Cup of Grace as your favorite in conjunction with that award. Tell us more about Cup of Grace. Why was that one the winner?
Well, very simply, my life has been very blessed, and uh, I didn't do it on my own.
Hmm.
I had the good Lord on my shoulder, and I was being guided. And when you went into the garden where I had this, it was in a pergola, and it was in Mansfield. The dark green, the cups, the very erectness of it, and then there were two or three other plants that were were good looking plants, but this thing just stuck out.
Mm.
And a lot of the hybridizers that get that award, and it's a very wonderful award. I love it. Uh, use it as a promotion for their stuff or whatever.
Hmm.
That wasn't my intention. It was just that I wanted to say that I have been blessed and I've had my cup of grace.
Mm.
So that's how that name came about.
I love it. That's a
That's
great
great.
story.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we've heard you have a great story about your first Hosta convention.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that was something else. Uh, I am not afraid to try things to begin with. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take some cut leaves. I'm going to go enter that show, and I'll show them what we can grow here in Ohio. You know, and I think this was over in Indianapolis and things like that. And so I go into the room, and it's 10 o'clock at night. And I'd had these in the room, so I brought them down. And I had never entered a cut leaf show at all in my entire life. And so I'm looking at there, and there's vases, cotton balls, and Q-tips, and all sorts of registration materials. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. There's a little old lady sitting over there in the corner, and there's about 15 leaves around her, and she's the only one there. So not being too bashful or anything else like that or shy, I walked up to her and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I'm a newbie here. This is my first time." I said, "Does this look okay?" Uh, and she says, "Well, it needs a little dressing up." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Well," and then she proceeded to show me how to clean the leaf, if you will. And then she showed me how to stage it in the vase and fill out my information, my registration sheet or my entry form. And so and after two of those, she says, "Well, I do have to get back to mine." And I go, "Well, thank you very much," and things like that. And so I went over and finished the other ones I had. And I think I have 4 or 5 of them. I put them in the show. And I was lucky to get yellows or things like that, honorable mentions or whatever. And that during the awards banquet, they announced who was best of show. And this little old lady gets up there, and it happens to be Mary Chastain.
Oh,
You
my
mentioned
gosh.
Lakeside
Yep,
before
Lakeside.
and things, and that was her. And I thought,
Wow.
oh my gosh, I didn't know who I was messing with. I don't mean messing, but I mean who I was talking with and working with. And she took precious time out of her schedule there to help somebody that was as naive as and ignorant as anybody could be, and things like that. And that ended up working into an unbelievable friendship with Mary, because obviously she was a hybridizer. I was a hybridizer. I have gone down to her home down there in Otawala, Tennessee, on several occasions. In fact, she's invited me to stay in her home, and we ate meals together. And I went out there, and guess what they wanted too? Blueberry bushes. I think that's my entry card.
I was going to say, your life just keeps pointing right back to blueberries. That's great.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I went down there and we planted those, another 6 or 8 bushes, and I went. I would go around, and so she was growing a lot of her lakeside, her introductions down there. So I have photographed her entire garden of all those lakeside things, and it's just really it was a wonderful thing. And then she had stuff for sale, and Mary was not a give it away person. She had up on the hill, there was all of the pots that she wanted to get rid of, and she had them painted either blue or yellow or green or whatever color, red, whatever color. And that was either $20, $30, $100, or whatever. And you could go and pick anything you wanted.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, okay, I brought plants down and, gave her a couple, and the blueberry bushes, I gave her those. And so I picked out 3 or 4, and I thought they were pretty nice, but they were, the 30, 50, $100 ones. And I said, "Okay, what do I owe you?" Fully expecting that maybe I'd get 1 or 2, Oh, she added all of them up and said, "This is a total." Oh, so she was a gem, but I love that woman, and believe it or not, she's still alive, and she's 97, 99, somewhere in that area.
Wow.
She's not in good health, but she's still alive, and so a very interesting person, and I owe her a lot. She battled the Good Old Boys Club when she got into hybridizing, and nobody wanted to share plants with her and things like that because it was a boys' network. And finally, but when they did, they gave her the cheap plants, neat splash or the sea sunrise or something like that. Not the real up to grade kind of material. She finally did get there, and things like that after proving her merit, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then good for her for charging full
Yeah, hey,
price.
yeah, and so I mean, I can, and you don't quibble with Mary, and but she's just a very gracious and a very nice person, and I'm blessed to have met her too and
Oh,
worked with
that's
her.
great. This makes me want to go buy a whole bunch of lakeside plants, Mandy.
Yeah, really, no kidding.
Yeah, there's some
Wow.
interesting ones. If you're talking about older folks too, I have one other story,
Sure.
and this is that Bruce Banday and his mother Pauline Bruce, up in Michigan. They have umpteen stories and things like that. I never met her, but Bruce was a good friend. He lived in Wilmington or Hockessin, Delaware, the state of Delaware. And Marty, my wife's parents lived in Sedgley Farms in Wilmington, Delaware. And we were visiting there, and somehow Bruce got wind that I was there. He called me. He says, "Hey, I'm going to, I think he called it honey song, honey bird. I've forgotten that. Ooh, that's terrible. Uh, Farms tomorrow. You want to go with me?" And I said, "Well, what's that all about? Is it a pretty good hosta place?" He said, "I think you'll be impressed." Yeah. Okay. Well, tomorrow's Sunday. You be down here in Hockessin at 8:30. So I skied down there at 8:30 and off we go. And whose place do we go to? Alex Summers.
Oh.
Oh, and I knew him that he walked on water.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So and he's and Bruce knew him firsthand, and they were good friends and buddies and things like that. And all at once, Alex says, "Well, it's time for lunch. It's time for dinner. Come on in." And I'm looking around. Who does he? And Bruce says, "Come on, we're going to have lunch." And we walked in there, and his wife had prepared a baked chicken for
Oh,
everybody. And it was a
wow.
very formal meal.
Wow.
And for me to experience that and then
Wow.
walk around his farm.
Wow.
And the most important, the biggest thing I can remember, he had all the plantagenetias,
Mm.
the diploid, the tetraploid,
Mhm.
and the other ones. So uh, and you could, and they were all blooming at that
Mm.
time. So it was just unbelievable to see that farm and things
Wow.
like that. So yeah, see how blessed I've been. I mean,
That's
I
Yeah.
great.
just the right place, the right time, but and
Hmm.
the people have been so generous to me. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I have tried to do that.
Mhm.
After Pete Rue got out of his seed sale, I decided I would take that over as far as a mission. And I've never tried to make money on that seed sale. Uh, I get my grandkids to help me, and they get all the funds out of that. And I've
Hmm.
always kept my prices very low
Hmm.
so that I can spread those
Mhm.
seeds around. And I got to tell you, we've gone to about 6 or 7 different foreign countries, including Canada. But I mean, in Europe over there, Russia. I sent Demetria
Oh,
over there,
wow.
and all and
That's great.
Christina
Yeah.
Brinkman
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things like that, and Jerome. And so
Mhm.
all of those people, Danny
Mm.
Phillips and or Danny Echeverria or whatever, and Hugo Phillips, all of those guys have gotten my seeds. So
Wow.
When do you do your seed sales? Is there a certain
well,
time?
I used to have a seed sale.
Oh,
Last
okay.
last year, I promised everybody it was going to be our last one, and it was a
Oh.
spectacular one. What we do is I take pictures
Hmm.
and I collect the seeds and I put them in the packages, and then my kids come over. I've got 5 grandkids, and it's evolved because then they take the orders, they go around the table, put the various envelopes, and then we have an
Hmm.
adult checking everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
And things like that. And then we get them out, and it's right around Thanksgiving time or
Okay.
whatever. It's usually on a Wednesday before the Thanksgiving happens, and so obviously then all of the income that's come in. I have my bride, Marty, go and cash. So we put it on the table, the cash. And there's five of them, right? And so we said, hey, somehow you've got a short amount of time here. You've got to figure out an equal share. But I divided them into two teams, and I pushed the piles into two piles. Then I turned around and I said, hey, make sure everybody gets the same amount. If you can't figure it out, I get it all. In less than 15 minutes, these kids are anywhere between 8 and 14. They shared, hey, I've got a 20, I need four fives, so they were doing this. And it was beautiful. So it worked out good. And my grandkids loved it and things. So it's another family thing that we do together.
That reminds me of the ice cream, like one sibling scoops it out, the other sibling gets to pick the first bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you
to
go.
Make it fair. Yep.
Yeah, just make it fair.
We try to just share it around and things like that. And I have named a hosta for all of my grandchildren and things like that. But the toughest thing that we had to do was to try to figure out names sell or can not sell a hosta.
Yeah.
A bad looking hosta with a good name will sell.
Yep.
Tony Avent's Outhouse Delight. What is that? That's one of those alba marginata kind of mutations that'll die, and you look at it, and
Outhouse
it's very light, things like that. But everybody's got to have that. There it is, Outhouse Delight.
I don't think there's anything delightful about an outhouse.
But that's Tony, if you know Tony. Hey, man. And so our hardest part was trying to get names that would sell on the plants of these things. So one of our kids was named, grandkids is Griffin. So Mighty Finn. That worked out pretty good.
Oh, that's that one. Okay.
And then one of them is Rowan. And so that became Rowan My Boat.
Okay, I have to tell you that I bought that one. I own that one in my yard simply because a very good family friend of ours' son is named Rowan, and I bought the plant for her son and kept a little piece for me. So names do sell hostas.
There you go. But I mean, you don't want to just name it Betty because there's only so many Bettys out there.
Yep.
And somebody might not know it.
Yeah.
So another one is Graham. And so we named that Telegram.
Oh, that's cute.
I didn't. Yeah. Oh, because it's spelled Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. That's great.
So
I love that.
we tried to combine them, all of that. The other one was, oh my gosh, Giggling Greta. And that's a floppy, big leaf plant. And so we had a lot of fun with that one. And let's see. And the one that we had the most fun with is my youngest grandson, and that's Reed, Reid, right?
Okay.
Read all about it.
Oh, that's cute.
Now I hear like Marty helps name a lot of these.
Oh yeah, she came up with most of those
things. Did she? Okay.
Most of the grandkids' names and things like that. But I've never had a knack for that, and she sort of looks at the plant, as did Mary Chastain, and if it's got a certain characteristic, and hey, maybe that looks like something, and then she'll name it that way. And Marty comes up. She came up with a couple of grades.
Oh. You've introduced so many incredible hostas. Each of the hybridizers we've had on the pod has their own system or goals. What do you strive for in your introductions?
Oh, well, I'm a shotgunner. Okay. There's two kinds of hybridizers. There's one person that will take a single plant and pollinate it with the same pollen the whole time. And they're going to get 100, 200 different seeds. Okay. And out of there, apparently there's a mathematical equation set out of 200 or less seeds, you'll get the best plant that you're going to get, no matter how many times you breed that plant. So that's a straight breeder on that. Now, a shotgunner takes that same plant if you have 20 flowers, puts 20 different pollens on it. So you're only going to get 6, 8, 10, 20 seeds of that one cross.
Mhm.
So you've got less chance of getting the best plant out of that cross. But I've decided that I want to try to get as many different variations as I can, as opposed to the best plant. So some people are shotgunners. Other people, now Bob Solberg would be more toward the one line,
Mhm.
and you can see how successful that is,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And that's why I don't have two plants out there that look alike
Mm-hmm.
that I've registered,
Yeah.
and things. So uh, now using that approach, then I look for the oddball, the distinctive plant, something that might not be out there or combines a couple of features that might not be there, and things like that. Such as you might have a ghost plant, but it has a plain border on the outside, very smooth on the outside.
Mhm.
And if you go look at King of Spades, that's what that plant has, and that's not very frequent out there. So, anyways, that's what I look at in my plants and trying to get. Uh, and if it's a different look or whatever, uh, one of my more recent ones here 3 4 years ago was road rage. Okay, and you either love that plant or you don't, because it's got a super amount of rugosity and little folds in it and things like that. And people would come into my garden and they immediately looked at that, the 10-foot rule. Hey, what is that plant over there?
Mhm.
And so then I tested various names and called that. And Bob Solberg introduces my plants or whatever. What a wonderful relationship we've had with him. And Megan, my daughter, at one time, my older daughter was going to Duke to get her PhD in chemistry. And Duke is right real close to Bob's farm and
Mm-hmm.
things. So my younger daughter went to live with my older daughter during the summer and interned at Bob's place
Oh.
Oh,
for a whole
wow.
summer. So, I mean, our connections are just
Mhm.
unbelievable and things like that. But I digress. They're long stories. Sorry about that. And
That's okay.
so Bob would come into the garden, and I'd say, Bob, hey, what about that plant over there? And one thing he will say is, well, that's a good looking hosta. And that is the kiss of death for Bob Sober,
Oh,
trying to be
no.
nice. He said, if it's a nice looking hosta, it probably is, but it isn't going any further with him or whatever.
Oh.
And he kept saying, that's a nice looking hosta. So we walked by it. 3 years later, 2 or 3 times he's gone by that. I said, Bob, you need to look at this another time, because everybody that in this garden comes in here, and I don't push my plants on him at all. But this
Sure.
one I was pushing, and I said, everybody just loves that. He says, okay, so if we did, what would you call it? And I said, I've tried 2 or 3 different names, and the one that has overwhelming success is road rage. It just looks, when you get on the road, people upset you. What do you do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, road rage. And he said, that's the ugliest name I've ever heard. That ain't going to work. And that's the one time I overruled him. I said, Bob, everybody loves that name.
Mhm.
And the short story here is that was his bestseller for the next 2 years.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
he still doesn't listen to me. But we
That's
had fun with
hilarious.
that one. Anyway, so
Wow.
yeah, so the name sells, but we do have Bob comes in and has a great eye, and he can pick out some things. He was here just a week or two ago, and he's got his eye on another three or
Wow.
Mm.
whatever. So hey,
Great.
and I've switched my hybridizing goals now too, because I used to be into tetraploids and things like that, but I had a hard time breaking the Patriot leaf form and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And even though I had this very good fortune of introducing a lot of streaked seedlings,
Mm-hmm.
crosses, hybrids, if you will, to other people and things, could never get anything to really settle out much, only 1 or 2
Mm.
plants. and things. So I was spinning my wheels there. So I decided not to pursue that any further. Got into red legs and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mandy, do you want to
and
tell
thanks.
him your story about road rage?
Oh, well, we created a TikTok account, which I'm not a TikTok person, but I thought I'm gonna start an account just for Hosta La Vista. And every day I will go out there and I will take a 30-second video of a particular variety and I'll talk about the history of it and the size. And so I've done that. And last week I did a video on road rage. And that video got 900 views in about 6 hours, and which is a lot. And so I'm talking to my 16-year-old son and I'm saying, I don't understand why this particular video got so many views. And so he's looking at it and he goes, well, it's because you put hashtag road rage. And apparently, there's a whole bunch of people that get on TikTok just to watch road rage videos. And that brought up the Hosta video that I took of your Hosta variety. And so, anyways, it kind of, it got a lot of
What?
views, which cracked me up. So,
What is wrong with people?
Yes,
Oh my
well,
God.
I know there's a lot of road rage out there.
there
So
is.
yeah, yeah, I had not heard that. I'm not
Yeah.
a big internet fan or whatever. I that was a very very huge story.
That's
Well,
funny.
Yeah.
it was
It's
a good
The
name. You did good on your naming.
the
right.
other thing, the other one that I've done that's very very rugose is Hogwarts,
Yes.
and Marty picked that up out of obviously the series uh, of
Harry Potter. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but so
Beautiful.
It's
yeah,
beautiful. That's
and
one of my
I
favorites.
think
Yeah.
with those two plants, and I'm trying to be humble here. I've started a resurgence and a greater interest in rugosity and things
Hmm.
like that. I know that Don Rawson
Mm-hmm.
has come up with some really rugose plants now,
Hmm.
and another guy, Jim McCalla, who
Hmm.
has a web or a Facebook
Hmm.
group on there. Uh, has visited me a couple of different times and he was talking, he really fell in love with rugosity. And
Yeah.
now from what I'm seeing on the pictures of him that he's posted, he's really got some nice, beautiful yellows.
He
Is
does. Yeah.
becoming very, very rugose. And
Yeah.
so he's loving it. Because I said, well, how far can you go with rugosity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can only get so many folds or, those tight things and things like,
Sure.
but he's demonstrating, he's got colors now. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah. So I'm glad he didn't listen to me.
What about Leaping Lizard? That's one of yours, isn't it?
Yeah. That's if you that plant defies description in regards to if you go to the registrar's uh, process
Mm-hmm.
and her application, uh, you can see the leaf shapes, and there's no leaf shape that fits that plant. And
Hmm.
so, anyways, it turned out to be one of those smooth edge ragaz things. It's shiny, and it just jumped out of there. So we were trying to think, the alligator names were gone and things
Sure.
like that. So lizard came out, and so that's what we did. So
I'm
it
looking
leaps
at
out of
it
the ground.
right now on the hostel library, and it's shiny, but it's
Hmm.
rugose. It's
Hmm.
got pie crust edges, but it's also, I don't sort of spade shaped. It is. It's a very
It's not elliptical. It's
right.
not heart
Hmm.
shaped. It just has a leaf shape that's not described.
What
So that
What are
was
its
one of those
parents?
distinctive ones.
Let's see what's oh, it was a seedling of Splash Leather and Treasure Island. Huh.
Yeah, isn't that really weird?
That's really neat.
Yeah, Treasure Island is a Yingeri plant. So yeah,
Is a
Hmm.
what plant?
Yingeri, that's a species.
Oh,
Hmm.
yes, correct. I gotta learn more species. I'm learning that
Hmm.
I know cultivars, but I don't know species plants very well. Yeah.
Well, nobody uses them much anymore or whatever, except Bob Solberg now is going back in due to his trip, not due to, but with his trip that he took over to Japan
Hmm.
with Zillis and trying to determine the origins of Ciboliana. He's brought back the Pucellas and some Longipes, and he's starting to cross the species and things, and he's getting some interesting things out of
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
That's great.
Uh,
Which
Don,
reminds me, one last thing out of Japan came the red flowers.
Mm.
Okay, and Jeff Moore, a good friend of mine up in Michigan, got into those as did Clarence at Walton's Gardens. And anyways, I got a couple of plants from Jeff, and Jeff said, "Hey, unless you cross the red with the red, you're not going to get any red flowers."
hmm.
And sure enough, he was right because I tried to cross it with other things, and the red disappeared, and things like that. But in the end, I crossed a huge number of those,
Hmm.
and I ended up collecting about 120 plants out of 4,800 that I
Whoa.
was growing, and those things. And Bob has always liked flowers, Silver,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're now trying to convince other people that the really dark maroon all the way to a white with little speckles
Mm-hmm.
to various shades of red and pink in these flowers give your plant and they since they bloom in August, it'll extend your flower life or your garden life,
Mm-hmm.
and still your hostas are going to look pretty decent with new flowers. And
Yeah.
so I know he's coming out with a package of a number of those different colors.
He
Did you?
mentioned yellow too. He mentioned
Yeah, he
yellow
did.
to us.
Yeah, Mark brought back to this country um, Lemony Miracle is the name
Oh,
of the yellow one,
Oh.
and Bob has brought back a blue one, a blue colored flower, at least what he thinks is blue, because
Oh.
there's a closeness between that and purple
Yes.
violet, you know,
Correct. Yeah.
and things. So, um, and now a couple of three of us, uh, Simpson, a young hybridizer that's working with Bob, and myself are crossing the yellows and the blues
Hmm.
to see what we can come up with. You got any idea what you come up with?
I'm thinking green, yellow and blue make green, right?
You go back to the purple or the violet.
oh,
Oh, okay.
oh.
Yeah, boo.
Boo.
We don't
Yeah.
like that. And
Yeah.
things like that.
Did you register any with red flowers yet?
Oh, yes, yes. I have registered either 8 or 9 of them.
Oh. Oh.
And the registrar both loves me and does not like me because most of the leaf shapes are the same in color, and they're a ciboli, which are not a substantial leaf or whatever. The distinction is in the flower
The
color.
flowers.
You're defining a plant on flower color
Yeah.
versus anything
Yeah.
else. So, but she was very gracious, and yeah, I that is what we call my sparkling series.
I
Okay,
saw those.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So everything
so I
labeled sparkling is a red flowered
flowered
hosta?
or yeah, or those off colors, the maroons or whatever. So you've got
Oh,
the reddest one is I think ruby or whatever, sparkling ruby.
sparkling
But then
ruby.
I've got an amethyst. I've got an opal. That's the one that's almost all white
Wow.
that has speckles in it. Uh, so yeah, there's amethyst. There's 5 of them. Whatever.
Wow. Yeah.
Great.
Sparkling amethyst, sparkling garnet, sparkling opal, sparkling ruby, sparkling sapphire.
There you
Okay.
Cool.
go.
I didn't. Okay. That's really helpful because, I saw a big giant list of these, and without spending hours on the Hosta library, I didn't know what was what, but that's now I have something to look up. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
There you go. There's a lot of things to do, and I love the fact that you can go with a tet And a lot of tets are susceptible to mating with a diploid. And the plants you get might not be or might not be fertile or things like that, but you can get some interesting combinations or
Hmm.
whatever. And that's how we're breaking the leaf uh, shape out of the patriot leaf shape.
So when you say it breaks, does that mean like part of the leaf is tetraploid and part of the leaf is diploid?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
you have different combinations there. Uh, Zonafeld has come up with a rating system that says 444,
Hmm.
which means the whole plant is tetraploid. But
Mm.
then you have your annulopoids that are 422, which only a certain segment of that plant. The breeding parts are the tetraploid, and everything else is diploids. And then you've got this layer of controversy, whether you've got
Yeah,
an L1, an L2, and an L3, that
sure.
gets into a whole lot of science and explanation of it. We used to have a color wheel that says, hey, you're going to get this sport out of this sport out of this,
Oh.
and how that works. So yeah, there's a lot of science, if you
Hmm.
will, in Hosta works. And if you are very creative, if you do your research, you go into the Hosta library, you go into the library that the HS runs, you can look at the parentage of these plants, and you can decide where they came from and where they might go and what would be good matches on things, and not always the visual type of match. You do your studying and say, oh, I want to go this route because of this. Yeah, so hey,
Mm.
that's the science part that I enjoy too, because before I'd start breeding, I try to research my parents
Hmm.
and know where I'm getting or what's already been gotten
Yeah.
Mm.
from them. Uh, Gosh, Hugo Phillips had such a great, and he hasn't had it maintained because he's getting a little old or whatever, but he would give you the uh, all of the offspring of a particular cross or of a particular mother plant or a father's plant, whatever. And so you could go down and see if you Mayucca, no yucca, or something or other. I was
Mm.
very terrible on that name. If you go, you can see it's got 20 progeny.
Yeah.
And
That's
so you
on
can,
the
and who they are,
Mhm.
where they came from, the parents. So you can say, well, hey, if that's already been done, why do I want to go there?
yeah.
Mhm.
So he runs the My Hosta database that's usually a
Correct.
link in the Hosta library. And
Hmm.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Down at the
Mhm.
very bottom, underneath the info section, it'll list sports and progeny and
Mhm.
usually
Yeah.
links to each of those so you
Yeah.
can learn about them. I spend, boy, talk
Oh,
about a
that's
rabbit hole. You could
that's
really spend
invaluable.
hours.
It's invaluable. Yeah,
It
Yeah.
is.
definitely.
Yeah, the record keeping of all of this stuff is its own art that I think doesn't get nearly enough recognition for the amount of
Yeah.
time.
Well, you can go from no records to a lot of records. And when you get a lot of records, you're probably pretty anal. And when you have no records, you're not a scientist
Yeah.
or whatever, and things. And Randy Goodwin, I don't think anybody can argue that he doesn't produce some very, very nice plants and
Hmm.
things like that. I don't think he's ever pollinated a plant, but he's
Mm.
collected a heck of a lot of seeds,
Mm.
and he's got a tremendous eye, and he has picked out a huge number of plants
Mm.
and things like that, and a lot of miniatures
Mm.
and things. So, and that's two ways to hybridize. You just put your plant. Herb Benedict never pollinated a plant in his life, but he
Mm.
would take one plant, sometimes in a pot, and he would put it next to another plant that was flowering at the same time, and then he collected seeds,
Mhm.
and that's boom how he
Yeah.
Let
got
the
his.
let the bees do it for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And but he collected the seeds and he planted it. Obviously, he had a good eye
Hmm.
Yeah.
and things, except one of them he threw on a trash pile. And Bob was there and he says, well, what's that over there? I think he said, you can have a plant or whatever, pick it out. And Bob went over there and And you pick this thing off of the pile, and that plant, one man's treasure.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
wow.
On the discard pile, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Goodness.
And Bev Stegeman out in Indiana, hey, she has pulled 3 or 4 of her plants out of that pile that she had discarded, and then all at once it blooms, or it just grows in that trash pile. And you think, why? How could I throw that away?
Oh my
And she pulls
God.
it back. She doesn't have the parentage anymore, but hey,
Sure.
Wow.
I got the plant.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
Some of
that
them
happened.
take a long time to really come into their own. I mean, sometimes 10 years before they really come into their own.
Mary Chastain shares a story that she had one street plant. It took her 17 years to
Oh,
get it to settle out. And finally,
wow.
she got her plant.
17 years. Holy cow.
That's the long game.
I was just going to say that same thing. Talk
And
about the
and
long game.
and oh, that's perfect. Simply because that's why I've gotten out of the street business.
Mm.
It just takes too long. I mean, they're gorgeous plants and
Mhm.
things like that. And 2 or 3 things could happen. It can go to an edge, it can go to a center,
Mhm.
it can go back to a solid color, or it
Mm.
can die.
Oh,
You
I
know,
can-
and I'm probably closer to that last option than all the other 3. And so I
Oh,
yeah. So, anyways,
Well,
I've had my life has been a blessing from beginning to end. I've
oh,
got a wife that's just so understanding, and things like that. It's just
yeah.
yeah.
whatever. I got 2 kids who are just apples in my eyes, and
Yeah,
and and now I got grants. So everything that
Yeah.
that's great. Doug, we have absolutely loved having you on the pod.
Yeah.
Can we play this last little game segment with you, and then we'll give you some time to give us your final reflections?
okay,
Okay.
All right.
All
I
right,
got
Doug, it's time to test your Hosta brain.
This is a game we call the A to Z Blitz.
You've got 30 seconds to name as many hostas as you can that start with a specific alphabet letter. Mandy, which letter does Doug get today?
Let's go with the letter S. Are you ready?
okay. I think I can do
Okay.
this one.
Ready, set, go.
First one would be my biggest one, Sequoia. Singing the blues. That was one of my first registrations. A streak plant would be Sunrise. Um, my wife's sorority, Star Power. And then you've heard of Olive Branch. I've got that brown that's in there. So I've got one that's called Sandstorm. Okay, and Squiggles would be another one.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my gosh, there's tons of them out there.
What about your sparkling series?
Sea Prize would be another
Oh,
one. What? Oh, all
yeah.
the sparkling ones.
That's
There you
right.
go. So that's sparkling ruby and amethyst and garnet and all those.
Okay,
Um,
time's up. What do you think? Should we say
I I think there were like 12.
13, 12?
Yeah,
Okay,
12.
let's go with 12. Good job. You got
Yay, good
12.
job.
well, you happen to hit one. I got the sparklings. Okay,
Yeah, that
whatever.
helps. That helps, right?
That was interesting.
When
I'm
you
glad you didn't ask Z.
Oh,
Oh gosh, that'd be hard.
no, that would be
Yeah,
very
there's
difficult.
not that many of them. The
Mhm.
only thing I can remember right now is Z's a Beauty. That's an
Oh,
N.L. Slater plant. So
that's cute.
he tried to get the first letter and the last letter of the alphabet
Oh,
uh,
Oh,
as far as registered plants,
oh,
and,
interesting.
and nobody's been able to top that Z. But
that's cute.
he had an A plant, but I ended up getting ahead of him on that one. So that one was a sum total or
Oh,
whatever.
that's
Register
right.
didn't like that, but hey, it worked.
Well, what still excites you about what's ahead?
Well, I hope I haven't met my last friend in hostas. Okay. Because we've got new hybridizers coming along that I'd like to touch base with. And at conventions, there's always some new face that's coming in there. and it's always nice to talk with these people and see where they're coming from. So
Mhm.
being that friendship, the plant, and so that's exciting.
Yeah.
In my breeding program, I've really constricted it now. So as far as what I want to go for, I'm working with colors. So I'm crossing a lot of blues with yellows.
Mm,
I've gotten up to about 6 different colors of yellow now that
Mm.
are coming out in various
mm,
plants and things. So that's sort of interesting to me and potentially where I'm going to go. And besides, the results happen within a year or
mm-hmm.
two at
Mhm.
the most. And
Mhm.
hey, I don't know how long I'm going to continue to be blessed.
Sure.
Yeah. To
Sure.
be on
Well,
this side of the grass.
Yes, right. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
your contributions are tremendous. So, well, any advice for someone just starting off?
Yeah, go find a veteran. Go find an older person because most of them are going to be willing to share everything that they know. And maybe they won't give you plants, or chances are they will, just to help you and go on. And yeah, that would be my encouragement. If you're a newbie, hey, just like I did with Mary Chastain to begin
Mm-hmm.
with, go talk to somebody. Don't be afraid because oh that's somebody that's higher up there or whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we're friendly people here
Yeah.
Mhm.
as a society, and that's cool. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's it. Go talk to them. Break the ice.
Okay.
Okay.
They
Okay.
probably won't come to you or whatever, but some will. But you go to them
Mm-hmm.
and they'll share.
That has been our experience as well. The veterans are willing, more than willing, to take on a new person, and for that we are very grateful. Very
Yeah.
grateful. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, uh, the creative aspect of our society and things like that, we're sort of an older generation kind of thing, and we're sort of stuck into sort of a website kind of thing. And the stuff that you two are doing with this podcast, until somebody explained to me what the heck was going on, I had no idea. And the availability of it, people can
Mm-hmm.
dial it in at any time
Mhm.
Yeah.
and as long or short as they want. They start hearing me talk, they're going to shut it off. But
No, they're not.
This may be one of our
other than
longer
that, so
episodes. There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
big kudos to you two for doing this.
Oh,
Uh, I think we and this is a record possibly that you're going to be able to reference in years.
yep.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you guys have like modern technologies past me, and I think I'm too stubborn to learn it, whatever, because I got limited brain power to do what I'm doing right now and
Okay.
things like that. But you
Uh,
guys, oh, go for it, and
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that you gave me the opportunity to talk here.
Great.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
I'm
Well, thank
just
you.
happy to talk all the time anyway.
Well, you're
Great.
going to make a great MC for sure. Well,
Yeah.
Doug, this has been such a joy. Thank you for sharing your stories with us.
And making us laugh, and giving us so much wisdom.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow and like us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now.
And check out our website at hostalavista.org. Thanks for listening, and
Hasta la vista, baby.
There you go. You
perfect.
got
You
it.
got it.
Awesome.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay,
Well,
Well,
thank you
thank
so much,
you.
Doug.
thank you.
Special thanks to Green Hill Hostas for sponsoring season 2 of Hosta La Vista. Green Hill Hostas, home of great new hostas.
Support also comes from In the Country Garden and Gifts, where this is Hosta Country. Shop online at inthecountrygardenandgifts.com.